We're going to solve this equation for a. 3 times the quantity 2a plus 3 minus 4 times the quantity 3a minus 6 is equal to 15. Now to solve this for a, we want to get the a's to one side, everything else to the other side. So looking at this, we need to get rid of the parentheses first. We're going to use a distributive property with that 3 out front. Take 3 times 2a is 6a, and 3 times 3 is 9. Now the second set of parentheses, that's what you need to be careful about because of that negative 4. That 4 is taken as negative, so you have to take negative 4 times 3a, that is negative 12a, and negative 4 times negative 6 is positive 24. Very common mistake people will make with this is they'll take negative 4 times that negative 6 and they'll write that as negative 24 for whatever reason. Negative 4 times negative 6 is positive 24. On the other side, that's still just a 15. Now back to the left side, you need to combine the like terms. 6a and negative 12a, if you combine those, that would be negative 6a. Also 9 and 24, if you combine those, that is 33. So we're looking at negative 6a plus 33 equals 15. To continue solving for a, we want to move that 33 to the right-hand side by subtracting 33. We end up with negative 6a is equal to negative 18. So we want to get the variable by itself. To get the variable by itself, move that negative 6 to the other side. And to do that, you need to divide each side by negative 6. So if you divide negative 6a by negative 6, that would be a. And negative 18 divided by negative 6 is going to be positive 3. So we're looking at a equals 3, but we do want to make sure, we want to check that and make sure we do have the correct solution by substituting 3 back in for a into the original equation. If we get a true statement where both sides equal each other, that means we are correct. We do have the correct solution. So go back to the original equation, replace all of the a's with the 3, and I'll save you some time here. Feel free to pause, go forward, backward, whatever you need to on the video. But you're going to see that we're going to get both sides equaling each other. We get a true statement, 15 equals 15. That means a does equal 3. Next equation we're going to solve is 5w plus 8 minus 12w equals 16 minus 15w. One thing to notice here is that you have w as variables on both sides of the equal sign. So we'll need to get the variable to one side of the equal sign, move everything else to the other side. Another thing to notice is these two terms are like terms on the left side. You should combine those first before you do anything else. A lot of times people want to move things around before they take that option of combining the like terms on the one side. That should be done first before you go moving anything else around. So 5w minus 12w, if you combine those, that is going to be negative 7w. Everything else stays the same. You have plus 8 equals 16 minus 15w. Now, really, you could do any of four things here. You could add 7w, you could subtract 8, subtract 16, or add 15w. You could do the opposite of any of those four things that are showing up right now. It's always a good policy to try to keep your w or your variable positive in order to save yourself from having to divide or multiply by negative 1 in the end, which may create another mistake. So to keep the variable positive here, I'm going to move this negative 15w to the left side by adding 15w to each side. And also in the same step, I'm going to move that 8 to the right side. So I'm going to subtract 8 from each side as well as adding 15w. On the left side, negative 7w plus 15w, that is 8w. And on the right side, 16 minus 8 is 8. These 8's cancel. The negative 15w and the 15w, those cancel. We're left with 8w equals 8. To get the w by itself, divide each side by 8. If you divide each side by 8, you end up with w equals 1. But we do want to check that to make sure we do have the correct solution. Take that 1 and substitute that into the original equation for w. So wherever there is a w in the original equation, you're going to substitute 1 in. And then if we get a true statement where both sides equal each other, that means we do have the correct solution. That's what we have here. We end up with 1 equals 1. That means we do have the correct solution. 1 equals 1, both sides equal each other. The value of w is 1. Next equation, 3 times the quantity x plus 1 is equal to 2 times the quantity x plus 11. We're going to solve this for x. To solve this for x, first thing we need to do is get rid of the parentheses. To get rid of the parentheses, we're going to use a distributive property on the left side as well as the right side. Distributive property to 3, take 3 times x, that is 3x, and 3 times 1, that is 3. On the right side, distributive property to 2, take 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times 11 is 22. Once again, we have variables on both sides of the equal sign, so we need to get the variable to one side, everything else to the other side. It's always a good habit to try to keep your variable positive as you're working through this. So to do that, we're going to subtract 2x from each side. And also in the same step, we're going to subtract 3. So 3x minus 2x on the left, that is x. The 3's cancel on the left side. On the right side, 2x and negative 2x, those cancel. And also on the right side, 22 minus 3 is 19. Looks like we're correct, but we want to be sure, substitute back in, put that 19 back in for x into the original equation, and we should get a true statement. If you substitute the solution back in and you get a true statement where both sides equal each other, such as in this case 60 equals 60, then that means you are correct. You do have the correct solution. X does equal 19. Solving this particular equation involves everyone's favorite, fractions. We're going to handle it the same way we do all the other equations. We're going to use a distributive property. 2/3 times 6c, that is 4c. 2/3 times negative 18, that is negative 12. Watch your signs. Also 3/4 times 8c, that is 6c. And 3/4 times 32, that is 24. On the other side of the equal sign, nothing happens there. It's still negative 18. Back to the left side. Combine the like terms. 4c and 6c, if you combine those, it's 10c. Also negative 12 and 24, if you combine those, that is positive 12. So you have 10c plus 12 equals negative 18. To isolate the variable, to get the c by itself, move the 12 to the right side by subtracting 12 from each side. You get 10c equals negative 30. And then we need to move the 10 to the right side by dividing each side by 10. And we end up with c equals negative 3. Now it appears we did everything correct. It appears negative 3 is the solution. But to be sure, substitute negative 3 back in for c. So wherever there's a c in that original equation, replace it with the negative 3. It is a mess with all the fractions. I'm going to zip through this, and we should end up with a true statement. And we do. Negative 18 equals negative 18. That means we do have the correct solution. C equals negative 3. If you do substitute back in and you don't get a true statement, feel free to check this work over on your own. Fast forward, rewind, or pause, whatever you need to do. But this is correct. C does equal negative 3.